Chris here with a fresh tip for you guys. In this video, we are going to talk about wet blending. I know this is a question that comes up a lot, and so we're going to take a look, and I'm going to do a couple quick demonstrations. In this video, we are going to look at using a retardant to help us along with our wet blending. So this one here is by Vallejo. There are other retardants out there, water-based acrylic retardants. Be careful when shopping around. Make sure that you get the medium sort, not additive. Additive basically kind of changes the chemistry, and actually some of them, more the artist grade type of stuff, slows the drying process down to the point where, you know, it can take like a week for paint to dry. So I don't really think you want that as far as your wet blending is concerned. But with wet blending, one of the easiest ways to get into it is with acrylic retarder. So I'm going to show you guys two ways of using this stuff to achieve a wet blend on a surface. We're going to lay a little bit down onto our palette here, just a little drop. It's actually quite a bit. We're going to pick two colors to play with. I'm going to pick corn red and white scar. We're going to imagine we are going to create a blend on this model's shoulder pad, and I'm going to show you on both shoulder pads two different ways you can use this particular product, the acrylic retarder, of course. First, we're going to load up our palette. We're going to add just a little drop of red, then we're going to lay down a drop of white, just like so. We have not added the paint to the retardant, as this is one way we can use it. So here's really a fast way we can go about it. We can take a bit of the retardant, load up our brush somewhat generously, apply it to the surface. This model already has a layer of paint going on the surface, so it's not really a huge issue. The retardant shouldn't reactivate the paint underneath if this is the case, because otherwise it would react with primers and things like that, so it should be perfectly fine. Then really quickly here, we'll grab our red base color that we're playing with just for our example here, and we will lay it onto this model surface. Now we are going to get some of this undercolor showing through as we work our way around, so you're just going to have to ignore that aspect of what we're doing here. As I said, this is simply an example of what we're doing. We're demonstrating the technique, as it were, and not so much a particular kind of color, as it were. So really quickly here, I've demonstrated, you know, just laying down a little base coat, as it were. The retardant is reacting with the base tone, so now this layer of paint will stay wet, and it should stay wet probably for at least, I don't know, 10-15 minutes. Usually in my experience, it lasts about that long with this little layer. About 10-15 minutes of working time, which is plenty of time to work out what you want to do. We're going to take a little bit of white onto our brush. We could probably take quite a bit, actually, because we're going to, you know, move it around quite a bit. And depending upon our highlighting scheme, now that's entirely up to you as far as how you want to go about painting your highlighting scheme. So let's imagine we're going to go for more of a kind of a top-down light sourcing, a bit like a zenithal type of light sourcing. So let's go like so. We're going to just lay the white right onto that surface there. You can see there, and you can already see just from that initial brush stroke that the paint has already begun to mix. And so with this same brush, or we could switch brushes. In fact, let's rinse our brush off really fast, use clean bristles, and let's move the paint around just a little bit here, because again, we do have some working time, and so we can push this color in whatever direction and whichever way we want to go with it. And so as you can see, as we work the color, oftentimes what I will do when doing wet blends is I will push the color, the darkest tone, up to the white, pushing and blending the color as I go. And then if I want to come back down and go a little bit brighter, then I grab a bit more white, or I'll grab just a bit more from the palette and lay it onto the model surface, and then blend that back downwards. And then if I've gone a little too far in the blend, then I go, oh no, quickly clean off my brush, and then start into the darkest point of the color. Or I can simply grab a bit more if I'm, you know, if I'm so inclined. It all depends on really what I'm doing, what kind of highlighting scheme I'm going for, and what have you. But you can see we got plenty of time here to blend the color out. And so this is a really great way to learn how to blend. And once you get used to how you want to work with the color and how you want to lay the color down on a surface and what your highlighting scheme you want to go with. Now, these are all things that are experience dependent, but you can achieve with just a bit of practice and you can get the desired results. And so as you can see there, how basically the color is as we want it, right? Mostly going upwards, getting brighter as we head to the top, staying darker down the bottom. Of course, we can go about many different ways of highlighting that as we want. Now on the other shoulder pad, let's take a bit of the color. We'll mix it into the retardant, as you see here. And again, we can just simply let's pick somewhere small here. Doesn't really matter, again, as you're working your way around the model. And like I said before, the under color here can kind of play through, but again, with the corn red, because it is a base tone, or it's a base color, it's a fairly rich pigment, and so it actually sits on top of this other stuff pretty nicely, considering that it's pretty bright. And you can see as I pull the color more away, but again, because we have the retardant in the color, we have a lot of time that we can go back and correct things. So here really fast, I'm just going to grab a bit of white before it's all dried on my palette. And then let's pretend we're doing some highlighting here. So let's just do something like that. Just something like that really fast. We're just going to go right along that high point of that shoulder pad. And then really quickly here, I'm going to grab a little bit more of this red that has the retardant in it. And I'm going to blend it out towards that seam. And then I'm going to bring it back out again. And if we had done this with a underpinning of the red, then we also could have had that work to our advantage and we'd have had a nice solid tone there. But you can see there's still a little bit of that red kind of not cooperating yet. So again, you can simply just do that. And then just simply pick out those edges. And it's as simple as that, as far as creating those blends. And you can, because we have the retardant in here, we can push the color back and forth and we can work it until, pretty much it dries up, or we just completely mess it all up and then we'll have to just clean it off and, go about it in another fashion. But as you can see there, we're getting our desired blends, and that is really two ways of using the acrylic retardant. Either we can lay it down onto the surface and blend our colors with it, or we can mix it into our color and use it like the color straight as, because we could also add to the retardant to the white, and you can see it just simply makes the white just going to dry a little bit longer. That's about it. That's all it's going to do. Using this particular Vallejo product with Citadel colors, nothing adverse happens, nothing weird happens. The only thing is that it is the medium itself is kind of a bit thicker. It's a bit heavier bodied. Citadel paint is a heavy body paint. It's a bit thicker than like normally Vallejo colors or any other dropper style bottle type of paints. So there is that, but otherwise it doesn't affect the paint really. And as long as you know that the paint is going to act quite thick and greasy, it's going to be fine. That is the one way of doing wet blending, and stay tuned for another example of wet blending. And I want to thank my patrons for making these videos entirely possible. And if you're considering patron support, follow the links down below. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.